for 9n cubed and negative 15n squared is 3n squared. So again, we're dividing now each of those terms by 3n squared. So 9n cubed divided by 3n squared, 9 divided by 3 is 3. N cubed divided by n squared is n. So that leaves us with 3n. We've got a minus symbol in between us, so we're going to put a minus. 15n squared divided by 3n squared, 15 divided by 3 is 5. N squared divided by n squared is just 1. So we've got the first part of it done. Now we group the second part of this together. There's a plus sign in between, so we're going to put the plus sign. Now we look for the GCF of 15 and 25. So it's going to be 5. 15n divided by 5 is 3n. Negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. So we had happen what we want to happen. Inside of the parentheses is exactly the same. So our first term, our first polynomial is 3n minus 5. Our second polynomial is going to be everything that's left, which is 3n squared plus 5. That's the factored form of 9n cubed minus 15n squared plus 15n minus 25. How'd we do? We do okay? Okay. Let's look at the second one. Okay, I noticed a subtraction in the middle, so it's going to cause maybe a little bit of an issue. Still 4 terms. Still going to look at factoring by grouping. Group the first 2 together. Number-wise, the common factor for 3 and 5 is just 1, so we're not going to write it down. Letter-wise, variable is m2. So if I take 3m cubed divided by m squared, that leaves me with 3 m's left. 5m squared divided by m squared is just 5. Now, talking to Mr. Pazurek, one of the things Mr. Pazurek does, anytime he's got that subtraction symbol in the middle, what Mr. Pazurek does, is because that's a subtraction, and I kind of like the suggestion, it's really a pretty good one. He has everybody just kind of scratch this out and put a negative symbol there instead, which is a nice little suggestion. Then you kind of remember. So now you can still put the negative, but you put your common factor for 6 and 10 is 2. So now you just look at 6m divided by 2 is 3m. 2 divided by minus 10 divided by 2 is 5. So it all works. Just a suggestion. If you don't mind doing it how we did it yesterday, do it how we did it yesterday. Either way works. Compare what you have inside parentheses. That's good to go. So our first factor, 3m minus 5. Second factor is what else is left. At this point, m squared minus 2. And you're done. So there's our first 2 kind of review questions for the day. The next one, same thing. I want you to go ahead and factor that by grouping. So we'll do one more of these, and then we're going to do a little bit of review from Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll talk about the plans for next week. We'll give you about a minute. it like a hockey tournament this weekend with Max and all right. Group the first two terms together. What's the GCF? 5. Letter wise, variable wise? X2. When I do that, what do I have left? 4x minus 3. Group this together. Make that a negative. Common factor for 12 and 9. 3. 12x divided by 3 is 4x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we've got the 4x minus 3's like we like. And then 5x squared minus 3. Factored form. So the first three we're factoring by grouping. 4 terms, look to factor by grouping. The next one I'm going to have you do, you're not going to factor that by grouping. So this one you're going to factor out by taking out a GCF. So find the greatest common factor for this one. And then once you've found the greatest common factor, then factor that GCF out of each of those terms. This is more of a review from like Tuesday, probably. I'm going to give you a couple minutes on this one. So when we're looking for a GCF for ones like this, you can certainly do the factor tree. But we talked about kind of the hint on how is easiest to find the greatest common factor for the numbers. Look at your smallest number. So we've got 54, 42, 6, and 36. So the first thing I would do is I don't want to do the factor tree if I don't have to. So I find the smallest number 6 and say, okay, now I look at the other numbers. If I go 54 divided by 6, do I get a whole number? Yeah. If I take 42 divided by 6, that's 7. 6 divided by itself is good. 36 divided by 6 is 6. So that right away tells me 6 is the GCF. You can always start with the smallest one. And then if that doesn't work, go to a factor of that. So try 3 and see if that works. If that one doesn't work, and then this works. If I tried 36, it doesn't make sense. Because 36 doesn't go into 6. If I took half of 36 and said try 18, 18 doesn't go, it doesn't work. So you can kind of eliminate pieces when you're trying to find this GCF and kind of use the tricks and kind of your number sense to do that. So number-wise, we know it's going to be 6. Now I look at all of them to see if they have a base of x, and they do. Now we look for the smallest one. Smallest exponent is 2. Now we look at the y's. Do all of them have y's? Yeah. Smallest exponent is 1. So there's our GCF. Oops. So now, 54 divided by 6. 9? Yep. So that's 9. X squared divided by x squared is 1. Y squared divided by y squared is 1, so it's just 9. Minus 42 divided by 6 is 7. X cubed divided by x squared. 3 minus 2 is 1. Y squared divided by Y, 2 minus 1 is 1. Plus 6 divided by 6 is 1, so I'm not going to write it. 4 minus 2 is 2. Y divided by Y, nothing. Plus 36 divided by 6 is 6. 11 minus 2, 9. 14 minus 1, 13. This is obviously much more difficult than anything you would have on a quiz. But if you can do that, you're in good shape and should be okay for the quiz. Right. Last one that I want you to do. Using the factor tree, prime factorization. I want you to use the factor tree to factor both 220 and 410. And then after you've done that, find the GCF. So we'll start with 220. The easiest one is probably 10 and 22. If you did 2 and 110, you're going to get to the same result. 10 is 2 times 5. Both of those are prime, so I'm going to put a circle around them. 22 is 2 times 11. Both of those are prime, so put a circle around them. So we've got everything circled. So it's the expanded form is 2 times 2 times 5 times 11, which we then talked about. That could be written as 2 squared times 5 times 11. Does that look right? Yep. 410. Again, the easiest one is probably 10 times 41. 10 is 2 times 5. 2 is prime, 5 is prime. I think 41 is probably prime too. Yes? Yeah. So this is 2 times 5 times 41, which is just how you would write it. Now when you're finding the GCF, you find the ones that they have in common. So they have a 2 and they have a 5. They have nothing else in common. So when we find the GCF, you multiply the two things that they have the same together. There's the GCF. Great. That basically gives you a review for the quiz as well. Okay. So the assignment you're going to get today is going to have all of these things on there. Vast majority of it is the factoring by grouping, and make sure you can do that. Then it has some factoring by GCF. And I think I threw some equation ones in there as well. Monday, I will not be here. So Monday, you will get the review assignment. I will also put a video of the review. I'll put that in Mondays as well. We are going to move the quiz to Tuesday. There's no reason to wait until Tuesday. No reason to wait until Wednesday. So the quiz is on Tuesday. That will give us